Nikki, you spend a lot of time in the evenings on Facebook groups helping people, answering questions, and supporting a lot of women in their search for really good skincare, makeup, things like that. Now, I think this week you've seen something that you're quite upset about, I think. Am I right?
Yeah, I think what's interesting is we know a lot of people come through to Facebook with, either on groups, they tend to be on groups, I think, with skincare problems and sometimes things that they might not necessarily want to discuss, with other people kind of face to face. But I read this post on Facebook, and basically it was within a group, tends to be women, but, who are real beauty fanatics. And this post was all about this lady saying, is there anybody out there that feels like me? And her description was that she doesn't feel comfortable shopping in stores. She tends to shop online, and the reason she doesn't feel comfortable being shopping in the department stores and in kind of individual beauty stores is because she feels intimidated, and she feels that she's being judged. She feels that everybody's looking at her, and she feels that she's going to be criticised and critiqued for maybe asking silly questions. And what was interesting is when I then read down, people's replies, there was a lot of agreement, and a lot of agreement about being judged, a lot of agreement about being ignored, a lot of agreement about the people behind these counters being age inappropriate and also wearing a hell of a lot of product and not necessarily being approachable. And it wasn't a surprise, sadly, but it kind of really made me stop and think. And I think one of the things I wanted to chat today with you about is, I know things are more available and exposed with social media and with the internet, but sadly a lot of what I seem to be reading at the moment is problems with how these women can go shopping. No, not just women, but how is it accessible? And they either are scared to go, or they get a bad experience when they go. Sometimes people are having bad experiences with online, service. It's like, where do they go?
I have experienced this. I mean, I wrote a piece on the site some time ago about literally going into a store and going to various different brands, and how you just either totally ignored, or people just didn't invest any time in knowing what it was that you wanted, or really how to help you. So do you think this comes down to the fact that most of the people on the shop floor aren't trained well enough to actually understand what maybe, we deal with older women, that's most of our readers and the people who contact us are 35 plus. Okay, 35 we understand is not an older woman, but they start at 35 plus, and we've still got people asking us questions in their 70s into their 80s, which is fantastic. So are we saying that people on the shop floor have no understanding of this older woman? They don't know the difficulties that they're going through. And does this come down to the brand training? Are brands just not getting behind their training program?
I think the thing is, there's, for the last however many years since I've been in the industry, probably, let's say, the last 8 to 10 years, there's been this fight that has grown between the online spend of a customer and the spend in a shop. And I think, there's a strong feel that in many industries, online spend will overtake, bricks and mortar spend. I don't agree with beauty, because I think people still want to go in and want to have that rapport and want to feel in touch.
But some things you have to see it, don't
absolutely.
you? How can you possibly... I can replenish a foundation online, if one I've already know and use.
Yeah,
of
you've
course,
just done it this week.
I've done it this week. I can click through and buy. But if I'm choosing something new, I can't possibly do that without going in store. So what happens? I go in store and maybe feel vulnerable. Let's face it, as you get older, you don't have the same confidence, so you feel a bit vulnerable. And then you're talking to a girl maybe in her 20s who hasn't got any idea about hormonal problems in skin and menopausal skin and trying to get colours right. Where do I then go if I'm in store and I'm not getting that help? I can't go back online because you can't choose it there. And as much as we like to show colours and swatches and things, you can't possibly choose. Where do we go?
I think the challenge is, I think it is an education piece. I think, brands often, brands do train their staff on product and application, if it's things like makeup and skincare, that's trained without a doubt. I think what both brands and retailers need to take a responsibility for is training on people. It's training on building rapport. It's training on, like you say, what is the skin changes? What changes are women going through? And, the other side as well, which is something that, I've experienced a lot on the shop floor, is more and more you are seeing, men coming into the beauty environment, be it men for their own skincare products or be it looking at transgender, so people...
I've got to say, actually, in fairness, most of the men who've served me recently have been far more involved in finding the right product for me than some of the women have. Yeah. Which is an extraordinary turnaround.
I think that's tough because I think, there's always been this myth in the beauty industry that women, particularly as they get older, love to be served by a cute boy. And, as a woman in the industry, that's often been quite frustrating because, you can kind of say...
I don't care who serves me, providing they know their product and they are prepared to listen to what I want. Yeah. And understand what it is that I'm trying to get from a product, because that's what we try to do with our videos, is explain what you'll get from using the product, and what we want is someone on the shop floor to tell us exactly what we'll get from it, what to expect, and why we should invest our money in it.
And I think you're absolutely right. I think it doesn't matter who serves you, and actually it doesn't matter to a degree in what age serves you. It's all about the service and the training, and I think it's about having some time spent with you as the customer. And it's about, a little bit of investment from the brand and the retailer to teach and to nurture staff. And I think, sadly, there's enough people in this industry who are my age, past 45, and we've made beauty our career, but I think sadly it's often seen as not a career.
Isn't that going back right through service in the UK though? It's not seen as being... a job to invest your time and your effort in. It's just like waiting on tables. In other countries, people take so much pride in looking after you. And we often say, we'll go somewhere and we get absolutely fantastic service. And why are we surprised? We go, God, that girl was amazing. She was great. Took an interest, took time, explained something on the menu. And it's exactly the same in store. Why don't we actually really appreciate what these people are doing? Because I've got to tell you, I wouldn't want to stand there. You've done it many years ago. You stood on the shop floor, and we've done it exhibitions a lot recently. Actually, being there and talking to people, it takes a lot of hard work. It's not an easy job by any means, is it?
But I think that's why, I know there's some other people in the industry who are quite vocal about this, are qualified to talk about this because we've done it. The consumer, whether the online business, didn't exist in my early days, and that's evolved, but that face-to-face consumer hasn't changed. No. It's still that interaction that people want. And I think, it's about really, this hasn't changed either. It's about voting with your feet. And, you may be driven to purchase on the shop floor, online, by maybe an offer. A lot of online retailers tend to have great offers. But you know what, you should vote with your feet when it comes to shopping in store and really demand that service and, go back to places, if possible, that give you good service, whether that, we're talking beauty here, but like you said, it might be a restaurant. But the other thing is, really, really, please make your concerns, if you experience bad service, known to both the retailer and the brand. I've had 2 instances recently via email where actually it was the same brand, it's a makeup brand, where consumers have been, first of all, blatantly ignored. These are women who are past 40, blatantly ignored in stores, both department stores and the brand's freestanding stores. And then eventually one of them was... or did speak to a member of staff. I think she had to approach a member of staff and was asked, she said, I want to choose a matte lipstick, I really don't have a clue on matte, lipsticks. And basically the girl put 6 in front of her, and the lady said, well, how do I know what colour? And she said, well, whichever one you like. That doesn't help.
So not which one suits you.
No, and although I've been in the industry 30 years, I always try and approach things when I walk up to a stand as a new consumer would. And, if you look at a makeup artist brand, everything from Bobbi Brown to MAC to Laura Mercier, a consumer looks and she sees, 30 lipsticks that a lot of them look the same.
You're totally over-faced, really, aren't you?
25 beige tubes of foundation tinted moisturiser that all look the same. So, if you're in the job, if you're in the industry of service in beauty, you should be there to help people. And, I know a lot of the brands are on commission, but actually it should come from satisfaction as well. So, I would say
if you are on commission, I think even more incentive to be good at your job.
It doesn't seem to be,
But we've had it. We've been together and been into big department stores, and we're looking at products, we're trying them, we're talking about something I've already used or Nikki's used. We're totally ignored. People don't come up and try and help. So I think there's a lot of work to be done, and I know you do train with some brands, don't you? Because that really is your passion, isn't it?
And interestingly, I've been doing quite a lot of training actually in what has been considered more of the service industry, which is kind of spa and salon service. I've been doing quite a lot of training with, therapists and front of house people, but actually it's retail that needs to step up. But I would say to you, as a reader, if you're reading this as a consumer, if you're watching this as a consumer, is, it's your right to demand that service. I understand why people come online into these forums and have these discussions, but what I then sometimes see is it kind of gets further and further dragged down into nobody's ever going to help us, It either goes down the real kind of bitchy sense, or it goes down there, we may as well stay in and shop online. Actually, no, go and
I think we have to be a little bit more demanding.
A bit more assertive,
and I think it's up to all of us older women to ensure that we're not overlooked, and we're really not invisible. I find this as a bit of an excuse, and there is one theory that people think they're invisible because they don't see themselves recognised. So you don't see yourself in magazines or in posters or on point of sale if you're actually at the counter. But I think it's an easy cop out to say we're invisible.
And it's getting better. There's great older women out there and men who are rocking a fantastic lip, doing great actually look on social media, because Instagram's quite good as well, because you've got the advanced style kind of visuals. You've got those great visuals recently with the 50 plus woman in the sewing costume and grey.
Absolutely, we got 50 plus fashion London Fashion Week, and I think things are changing, and I think older people are such an amazing demographic for so many ways, and especially lucrative for the beauty industry. But I think we do have to be a bit more assertive, and we have to ensure that we're not overlooked. And I think people like you will make a big difference, because you will be training from the shop floor to actually get that message out to the consumer.
And a couple like we do, go with a girlfriend. Make it a little bit of a journey, have a coffee, have a glass of wine at the end of it, whatever you need to do, but it should be something that's enjoyable, and
it should be fun. I mean, the whole idea of it is fun, and to make you look and feel better. And if you're going there and you're not looking and feeling better, that's really defeated the object. But let's all kind of stand up for ourselves a bit more. And if you do have really good experience, let us know, because we want to really praise the people who get it right, as well as have a moan about the ones that don't. But let's and if we get enough of them, we'll put it on the website and actually talk about who is doing a great job,
where to shop.
Let's do it. I think we should, though, because I think people don't get praised. We're all good at having a good old moan, but let's actually find some people out there that we're really impressed with.
Absolutely. Great. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.